the love and affection of the Buddha's offspring, their tireless effort on behalf of sentient beings. This is the greatest wonder in all the world, yet it is no wonder at all. Here there's a difference between the meaning of the original Sanskrit line and the line of Chinese translation. I don't know how to account for this difference because otherwise the Chinese translation is extremely precise. Possibly the Sanskrit text that I saw was a reconstruction from the Tibetan, and there might have been a difference between the Tibetan version and the version, or the Sanskrit version that went to China. But I like the version of that line that comes in I like the text of that line that comes in the Sanskrit version rather than in the Chinese version. So I'll go to the Sanskrit. Okay, so this is the greatest wonder in all the world, yet it is no wonder at all because of the sameness of sentient beings and oneself. Okay, so the first two lines are applauding the qualities of the bodhisattvas who are called the Buddha's offspring. The qualities mentioned are first their love and affection for sentient beings. And so they have this great loving kindness, but here the text doesn't use the word metta, but it's the word prema, the Sanskrit, or prema in Sanskrit, which means normally affection, prema, is the kind of love that a parent might feel for their children, or a husband might feel for his wife, the wife for the husband. So this is something much more personal than metta, as a kind of impersonal loving kindness. So this is a feeling towards living beings as though they were one's own children. And so one has this affection for them, this love and affection for them. And then through that love and affection, then one engages in tireless effort, inexhaustible effort on their behalf. So not having any concern for one's own comfort, one's own security. As we saw from the earlier verses, one is ready to tie oneself to sentient beings with a tight bond. One is ready to undergo suffering and hardship on behalf of sentient beings. And this is normally something so difficult to understand because most people are averse even to their own suffering. How much less do they want to undergo suffering on behalf of others? And yet, one engages in this tireless effort on behalf of sentient beings, and so this becomes the greatest wonder in all the world. And yet, paradoxically, it is no wonder at all because one has expanded one's sense of identity so widely, so vastly, that there's no longer any sense of distinctions or discrimination between oneself and others. The good of others is one's own good. The happiness of others is one's own happiness. The suffering of others is one's own suffering. And so for that reason, one is ready to work with an inexhaustible energy to promote the welfare of sentient beings. Okay, I wanted to offer you or to share these verses with you, these verses which I have liked for many years, and to explain my own understanding with the recognition that we are all to some extent engaged in the type of work which is being prescribed and applauded in these verses. everybody in Buddhist Global Relief, again, is putting in time and effort, not only to implement projects, but to think of things to do, to undertake preparations, to record the minutes, to send out the agenda, to coordinate the suggestions, the opinions, the advice, the criticisms of others. And so bringing all of this together into a cohesive organization which will work to fulfill the mission of the Buddha of working for the welfare of the multitude, the happiness of the multitude, out of compassion for the world, for the good, welfare and happiness, perhaps not of the devas, but I think they're rejoicing in the merits. Actually, we will share the merits with them, so they'll also participate, but especially for the welfare of human beings. Okay, thank you for your attention.